We are now coming to the final speech of the evening, and I'm very happy to welcome back our esteemed former member and founding member of his own club, which is taking being a Toastmaster to unseen levels around this part of the world. So very well done. So Lee Maguire needs no introduction. It's a level 4.1 speech, engaging humour, called 41 done, 154 to go. Your evaluator for this evening is Phil Sturgeon, and Phil is going to come up and introduce you.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, very welcome guests, and most especially Lee Maguire. So I have the pleasure of evaluating Lee this evening. Lee's speech this evening is from one of the lesser known pathways, engaging humour. Now, for our guests, all pathways will provide you with training and the opportunity to develop your speaking skills, your leadership skills, but some pathways also have other areas of focus, and this one has an area of humour. So if you've ever felt as though you want to be funnier than you are, this might be the pathway for you. The topic of this particular speech is the power of humour in an impromptu speech. So this evening, Lee is going to deliver two to 3 minute impromptu speeches, just like table topics, but to make things even more tricky, they're going to have to be funny. And you are going to judge how funny they are. I'm going to be watching or listening to see how hard you're laughing at Lee's two speeches this evening. And it's a rather interesting approach that Lee is taking tonight. His speech title is 41 done, 154 to go. So Lee has visited 41 countries, as he's a bit of a renowned traveller. So Lee is going to be calling on you, the audience, or two members to pick a number between 1 and 41 at random, and each of those numbers will correspond to a country that Lee has visited, and then Lee will step up and he will give a 2 to 3 minute humour speech on his experience of that particular country. So he will ask one member of the audience at random to pick a number between 1 and 41. He'll deliver his speech. Then he'll ask another member of the audience to pick another number between 1 and 41, and he'll deliver a second speech. And at the end, I will be evaluating Lee, hopefully on demonstrating aplomb in delivering a confident and humorous speech on a country that he has visited. I'll be evaluating both what he says and how he says. So I know hopefully you're looking forward to this as much as I am. So I'd now like to introduce Lee Maguire. 41 done, 154 to go. 41 done, 154 to go. Lee Maguire.
Mr. President, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Look who's back. I just literally travelled 3 hours to say it. Look who's back. I used to be a member of Belfast Toastmasters many years ago. A lot has changed since I left Monaghan Toastmasters. Freudian slip. Belfast Toastmasters. Since I left Belfast Toastmasters all those years ago. I have now reached the number 41. No, I'm not 41 years old. Still 37. No, I haven't had 41 jobs since I left. Just one. And no, 41 is not the number of bad jokes I've told in the last 24 hours. 41 corresponds to the number of countries I have been to so far in life. Disclaimer, 41 countries. I am counting the Vatican City, I am counting Scotland, and I am counting Wales, because they are all recognised by the United Nations. Or they will be when I'm in charge of the United Nations. So 41. So, I'm going to call on one of you to pick a number between 1 and 41, and I will discuss that country in a second. So, first of all, I'm going to call on Nuala Cassidy. Nuala, do you mind joining me on stage? Now, Nuala, as the hypnotist says to the person who's about to turn into a chicken, we've never met before in our lives. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Nuala, have we?
Oh no.
No, and we didn't have this.
Stranger.
No, absolutely. After the board being strange. Yes, and we didn't have this conversation at 12:15 last Saturday night, did we?
Oh, of course
No,
not.
no,
I don't remember that.
no, not at all. No, nor do I. It's like memory loss. So, Nuala, could you pick a number between 1 and 41, please?
36.
Perfect, Nuala. And could you pick one of the 5 senses, please?
One of the 5 what, sorry?
Senses.
Senses.
Yes.
Look and see.
Smell.
Wonderful. So I'm going to talk about country number 36 and the smells I experienced in that country. Thank you very much, Nuala.
Thank you.
36. Spain. So, the smells I experienced in Spain. Well, the pleasant smells I experienced in Spain. Well, many of you have probably been to Spain on various holidays. It may have been with your other half. It may have been with your mistress and your other half didn't know about it. It may have been with your mates. So I recently went to Spain and I went to Madrid. So in Spain you get to experience various senses. So there's nothing like the smell of sangria. I may not be a sommelier like our previous speaker, but the smell of sangria is pretty damn good. The smell of paella is equally good. But I think the smell that I will most remember from Spain is the smell of the heat. Whenever you're in Spain, it is sweltering heat. So yeah, the smell of your own sweat isn't very pretty. But that is one of my most memorable smells from my time in Spain. So thank you very much, Nuala, for those gross images for everyone. So, next person I will call on. Let's see. Mark, would you like to join me on stage? Now, Mark, like I said to our previous speaker, we've never met and we're not first cousins or anything, are we?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
No, perfect, thank you. So, can you tell me a number between 1 and 41?
I'm gonna go for 25.
25. And can you pick another sense that isn't the sense of smell, please?
I'm gonna go for taste.
Taste. Perfect, thank you very much. So, country number 25 is Myanmar. So, in 2015, I spent 6 months backpacking around Myanmar. The taste didn't get off to the best of starts in Myanmar, but I arrived in Myanmar and I was so enthusiastic about getting to my accommodation. I arrived and decided, unusually, to get a taxi from the airport to the accommodation. Now, the taste of fear quickly got to me, because rather than paying the taxi driver $8 for a taxi, I paid him $80. Now, that isn't such a big deal if you're a typical backpacker, but the day before that, I'd lost my bank card in an ATM in Bangkok. Whenever you're using an ATM in Bangkok, the card doesn't come back out automatically. So I was down to my emergency supply of cash. So whenever I realised my stupidity, for the second time in 24 hours, the taste of fear was a big thing. The taste of stupidity and humble pie was delightful. But yes, they absolutely, unpleasant taste. So after a few days of beating myself up, I got over this and did start to experience Myanmar cuisine. So Myanmar is also known as Burma, and it's very famous because of its British influence. So it has a lot of nice curries, spicy soups, etc. So it was a very pleasant experience on the palate. But the reason, I suppose, the greatest taste was the taste of freedom I experienced in Myanmar, not just as a backpacker, but amongst the people I was surrounded by. Whenever I was in Myanmar, I was there for the first democratic elections in many years. And this was back when Aung San Suu Kyi had recently been released from house arrest, was then a liked person. And gosh, we've already mentioned politics in Belfast. And I mentioned the Vatican as well. Experienced the taste of democracy that these people were experiencing for the first time in many years was highly enjoyable. I have room for one more before my train goes back to Dublin. So, can I call on one more person? Jenny, would you like to call one from up there? Down there? Or if you want to join me on stage, people?
No, I can call from here. 13.
Good lord. I'm as superstitious as the last guy with the magpies. 13. I really should know these off by hand. France. Wonderful. And a sense, Jenny?
Touch.
Touch. Good lord. Right. So I'm actually going back to France in a couple of weeks. I've been to France before, but I'm going back to Paris. hopefully my sense of touch. Well, this time I'm actually going to the Palace of Versailles for the first time. So the idea, with my egoism, of a hall of mirrors, I think that would be quite delightful. To be able to look at my reflection in an entire room. But the sense of touch will be explained by various other things. The touch of pastries, the touch of slimy frogs' legs and snails, and who knows, or what else I might touch, but absolutely in France. There is plenty of things to touch in France. Yes, and I'll just leave that to your imagination. It's not after 9 o'clock just yet. So as we look forward, since I left Belfast, Toastmasters, all those years ago, I became a permanent civil servant. So as I look to the future, I suppose I'm looking for the nearest travel agent, because I recently was informed that I'm entitled to a career break of a minimum of 6 months and a maximum of 5 years, or 12 years throughout your career. So I think I will be going to the travel agent and looking forward to my long-awaited sabbatical in South America. Watch this space. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lee.